How y'all doing? I'm Joshua Wiley, and this video right here is almost, I guess you could say, almost like a trilogy. It's part number 3. It's gonna be about Tupac, Kanye, and Bill Cosby all in one. Now some people, you know, they were like a little upset, wondering why, questioning why is Joshua Wiley talking about Tupac. You know, even spits a little piece of one of Tupac's old verses off his very first album back in the day. There isn't a lot of people in the world you'll ever see me promote, talk about, or push. You know, not at all. But there's a lot of, you know, we all know Tupac was how should I say, he was out there in the world. You know, he was out there in the world, and and he was caught up in a lot of things, you know, a lot of bads, but there's also a lot of pluses in his life that a lot of young, not just black men, but men growing up in the ghettos and the slums, you know, from where I'm from, can gain strength from and can take note from. You know, and we're talking about a real life historical figure. See, I'm gonna be real with y'all. You know, my ministry page isn't just for Seventh-day Adventists. It isn't just for Christians. My ministry page is for the lost, for my brothers and sisters who are where I used to be. You know, caught up in drugs and violence, hip hop and music. You know, it's. Of course, I teach the word, but I also make videos time to time. I know I made one about Cat Williams. I made one on the death of Prince and Robin Williams, but also about Tupac. When I see traps, see, there's a reason and there's an agenda. The reason why they don't want the youth to know anything about Pac, to look into his life. You got a young man who was born and raised in a crack home, you know. Some of y'all will never experience that and never know what that feels like, you know. Here he was born against all odds, and yet he still strived to do something good and made some wrong choices, and ended up, those wrong choices ended up being his demise and downfall. But a lot of young brothers need to know that, hey, you can too. Get up out of the slums and the projects and be positive and live a positive life. If you never become a Seventh-day Adventist, you know, if you never come into the church and give your life to Christ, I'm still your brother and I still love you, and I'm still gonna talk to you out of love, and we can still talk about things and things that we can relate. Look, I came across this verse. It's crazy because I caught some criticism from some folk, but and it's crazy, you know. I'm sitting there, and I just happened to come across this verse right here where Paul was talking, because I tried to make it clear that I'm not talking to Adventists right here when I'm telling the young people, hey, don't listen to what they say, because the whole point of the video about Tupac was don't listen to what the media tells you and other people tell you. Go see things, judge on your own, be your own man about thinking for yourself. Don't let society, and especially this media, tell you how you should think and feel about someone. Because before I read this Bible verse, because I'll be honest with you, you know, Tupac was honest about his struggles up and down. You know, he was honest about how his uncle used to touch him when he was a little boy. You know what I mean? And how sometimes he wanted to die and was depressed and stressed out and pushed to the limit, you know, which a lot of us feel at times, you know, feeling like there was no hope in this situation. But he also was one of the only hip-hop artists to talk about Christ, God in heaven. Does that make him saved? Does that make him? That's between him and God. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, there's an agenda to where there's certain people who don't want you to know that about Tupac, because they want to keep everything satanic. And hip-hop, they rather, you know, keep having you focused on the skinny jeans and looking at guys on their CD covers in dresses and calling each other hubby and all doing all types of mannerisms and just talking about all straight garbage. They don't want you to hear, who do you believe in? Like when that's one of Pac's songs, Who Do You Believe In? Where he says, I keep my faith in God, I'm blessed and still breathing. Where he say, even though I'm breathing, It's been so long since I really heard it. But anyway, or Does Heaven Got a Ghetto? You know, things of that nature, sparking questions of, hey, where does my soul gonna go? Where do I want my soul to go when I die? You know, so there's reasons, there's an agenda to demonize him all the way, and to get the youth not to even go and look at a real life historical figure who sold over 70 million albums, 75 million albums, 9 platinum albums in just 7 years of his life. And he was military executed. He was military executed and killed. But anyway, I came across this verse for those who feel like I shouldn't be really talking to the youth about somebody as controversial as Tupac and things of that nature, even though, like I said, where I come from, what Tupac called the outer city, because we were born outside of everything, born and raised with no family, things of that nature. And so I know those thoughts and those struggles that he dealt with, and I know that there's a million other children just like me and him, you know, who need to hear a good story and see a good story of, hey, if he did it, I can do it too. If he came about and God blessed him, I can do it too. You know, they need that. They you know, all these we can read it in our history books about these homosexual kings, King Henry the 15th, and all these monarchs, and watch movies about Hitler and Napoleon, and we can learn about all these other people, General Custer and Geronimo. But this young black man who was born and raised in a crack house, military assassinated, whose mother beat her own case while she was pregnant with him in jail. This boy was against all odds. Stepdad was on the most wanted list, how the feds had been watching him since he was young. But who knew that he knew Shakespeare? Went to the School of the Gifted in Maryland. You know, he just wasn't all just straight gangster, shoot 'em up West Side, you know. The youth need to see that. They need to see that. Then he said, but anyway, to those who think, oh, Josh, you shouldn't be even speaking on them things. Look, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1 says, and I, brethren, could not speak to you as to spiritual people, but as to carnal, as to babes in Christ. I feed you with milk and not with solid food, for until now you are not able to receive it. And even now you are still not able, for you are still carnal. And beloved, so like I say, I always, if I'm making a video for a group of Seventh-day Adventists, or I'm talking to Christians, people who should already be on me, you'll know it. But if I'm talking to the youth who are listening to mumble rap and go to clubs and who do these things, you know, I've learned you gotta use tact. I just can't start thinking. Somebody asked me, well, why didn't you didn't have in that video, you didn't talk about the 3 angels message, or you didn't talk about the 3, look, I stepped on my cat again. You didn't talk about the 3 angels message, or you didn't edify the body of Christ. I said, look, I come to them, I'm trying to teach them first how to think for themselves. Can I talk to them about that? Can I teach them how to think for themselves? Because to be in the Bible, in the Word, in this day and time, you're going to have to learn and know how to think for yourself. How to think for yourself. You know, if they're out in the world, I have to meet them where they are. I just can't beat them over the head real quick and expect them to, you know, pull them up to my spiritual status and say, here. No. You know, no, that's not how you reach them. And then I ask all of you the question. You know, Christ said, some of you approach me, you know, out in front of all, and that's why I say, okay, where's your lack of love? Some of you say, oh, I can tell you're out in the world, you're still in the world, Josh, because you said that old verse, and because you made that about Tupac. What if I was? This the thing that where a lot of us fall short. What if I was? Do you outwardly condemn your brother, or do you come to me out of love and say, Jay, man, I'm concerned for you? See, many of you can be in the church, you can do all you do. Yeah, I keep the health message, and every Sabbath I'm sitting in the pews and I got my book, I do my Sabbath school lesson. You can feel holy. But if you lack love, true love, if you think your brother erred or made a mistake and you're the first one to point the finger and try to pull it out of him in public, you're the first one to try and say something publicly to downplay him. Oh yeah, you could be saying, oh, I'm praying for you. You know, we always throw that at the end of something, but you really trying to beat the boy down and sarcastically point your finger. What did Jesus say about that when he said, you worry about the splinter that's in your brother's eye the whole time you walking around with a plank in yours? He said, first pull that out of your eye, then you can see clearly how to deal with the splinter that's in your brother's eye. It's in your brother's eye. Because, beloved, those you point the finger at may be closer to the Father than you. And I always tell people this, anytime somebody comes to me and complaining about the church, and they say, well, Josh, I know the sun is going down, the Sabbath is drawing nigh, but anytime somebody always comes to me complaining about the church, I always say, okay, now you know where to start. And they look at me like, what are you talking about, Josh? I say, okay, you see these problems, you see these issues, that's where you fill in. If you see that your church is lacking this or you lacking this, that's where you fill in. Go ahead and fill it in. Go ahead and do it. Why does somebody else have to do what you say? You say, why do I say that? Because I had somebody say, okay, well, why didn't the video talk about this? And why you didn't mention this about the gospel and this about the gospel? But it was ironic, you know, and I pray for these, I pray for all my brothers and sisters, but they had no Bible study videos at all. You know, I got hundreds, you know, just little Bible study sermons, things of that nature, where I discuss the word and things of that nature. But here, if you're going to point the finger and say, well, why don't you make this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do it? Why aren't you doing it? You have your phone. Most of us have smartphones. There you go. You can film it and upload it just like anybody else can. So before you point the finger, what are you doing to edify the body? You know, is a question. Or are you really coming out of love? Some people might see somebody sin or might see somebody who they think is in error. You know, and I gotta say think, because I'm trying to reach the youth who I deal with every day on an everyday basis, sending some to college. Yes, on my side, which I make crumbs, you know. But what are you really doing for your neighborhood and community and reaching those, you know, and actually truly showing them that you truly love them, So it's what are you doing? But anyway, enough of that. There's a reason why all three of these were tied in together: Tupac, Kanye, and Bill Cosby. And I know I spent a lot of time during the Tupac and the Kanye, I made it kind of clear. But in the Tupac, I really didn't make it clear. I was just trying to make it clear about thinking for yourself. You know, because I saw the media demonizing this movie, but they're demonizing it for a reason. And you look at Bill Cosby, and some of y'all might say, okay, we know Bill guilty. No, we don't. He had 50 accusers. Did you know that 30 of the accusers, all this is online, you can look it up for yourself, 30 of the accusers wasn't even about rape. They were saying, oh, I think he touched my butt 30 years ago. Or he came on to me the wrong way and I felt funny. Yes, I didn't believe it myself, and then I had to look it up myself. 30 of those women, it wasn't even about rape, but the media said he had 50 accusers about rape. Even how they showed them all on the New York Times magazine, the cover, and they're all sitting there, and it said, you know, all them women, and people holding up signs, we believe the women, and 30 of them wasn't even about rape, but the media made it seem like all 30 accusations was about rape. And they tell me, oh, he touched my butt 30 years ago. I'm like, really? I ain't got a comment on that one. And then the other 20 who said he raped them, come to find out, almost 99.9% of them all had relationships with him. Wow. So he raped you, but you stayed in a relationship with him. Okay. That's that, you know. Why are they demonizing Bill Cosby? Why are these three men? Why did Joshua pick these three men to talk about? Okay, Holy Spirit just told me to finish with the Bill Cosby. I want to show you the different picture, the different. I almost did like that. And we know what that symbol is. Let me stop. But the different picture between Bill Cosby and some of the other men. You say, Josh, what are you talking about? Here, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was running around giving women HIV. This is a known fact. Giving women HIV. No telling how many women and prostitutes he slept with, but before he found out he had HIV, when he knew it and just didn't tell everybody, and still sleeping around with women, going on tours and all that. And then we find out about it, he was not demonized in the public. His TV shows, his movies still play, and and they're still on air. But when you have like there was this priest, I think I just posted it on my Facebook, this priest, they just caught him. He had sex with 30 kids. He had raped and molested 30 children and gave them HIV. He was HIV positive. So you have these two men who are HIV positive and who have been giving it to all these innocent people, and this priest raped and molested these kids. No talk of them in the media. No talk of him at all in the media. But here Bill Cosby, mostly all of his accusers have found out to be false and liars, all of them, and all about money. There's so many loopholes and things in it. We find this, why would they demonize Bill Cosby? Beloved, I'm here to tell you, it's all about their voices. You say, Josh, what do you mean? There's an agenda, and many of you know about the Illuminati, but the one thing they want to control is your voice. If you have a voice, and you are actually reaching people with your voice, then they're gonna want to control you. Prophecy, Revelation 13 says, if you don't accept the mark of the beast, you will be killed. And I'm here to tell you, beloved, many of us don't really see how it can really happen. Like I brought out in the Kanye. If they can take Kanye West, lock him up and say it was for his own safety, and no telling what they did to him behind closed doors, and there's nothing said about it, there's nothing that's gonna stop them from doing it to you and I. Nothing. The same way they demonized Bill Cosby off of accusations, off of just accusations, is the same way they're gonna say it to you. And that's why the public outcry, when they're killing Christians, when it gets to the point to where the beast, excuse me, where the beast comes and he starts to kill Christians. You know, Paul Washer got it right. Paul Washer, I don't know if he's Baptist or charismatic, I'm not too sure, but I came across a little clip he said about persecution in the church, My camera automatically shuts off at 20 minutes, and then it'll cut back on and finish recording. So before I play this clip, because I don't want it to shut off in the middle of it, I'm going to talk until the 20 is up. You know what I'm saying? But beloved, that's why I look at these three. All three of these men had voices, was reaching people, and actually, as you could say, broke the oath. Bill Cosby didn't start getting demonized until he started speaking on. I actually have seen, since I've done my study on Bill Cosby in the past 2 weeks, I've actually listened to sermons, well, not sermons, but lectures. I didn't notice. Well, Bill Cosby had been, right before all this trial and stuff came, Bill Cosby had been traveling the country lecturing to black men to start being more responsible and living up in their life, setting standards and goals. But that wasn't it. I thought that was it. I knew about that part, but I thought that was it. But then he had also, during these same lectures, he had been talking about how a lot of the kids who are taken into juvenile boys' homes, like one that I was in, or juvenile prison, how they get put on all this medication. They give you all this medication when this kid is locked up, and then it's like he said in his own words, but then you release him out in the streets. He's used to being docile and getting all this medication, and then all of a sudden you release him out in the public and wonder why he cuts up, or he's not conforming now in school and in the home, but he's been getting fed all these meds and things of that nature. Oh, beloved, I was like, wow, Bill, I didn't know Bill was out speaking on that. Now think about it. You touching on pharmaceutical companies. You touching on the prison system, because all of it's tied and connected. You touching on the foster care system, because when these kids who are drugged and medicated in the boys' homes and when they're in the juvenile homes, all these pills, they get popped all these pills, and then they're set free in the public, where are they gonna end up? Right back in the system, right back into foster care. And so Bill was speaking on that, which I did not know, y'all. There's a reason why he was demonized. Let me show you. All right, now it did the 20 minutes, and now it just automatically restarted itself. But there was a reason why Bill Cosby was demonized. I did not know he was gonna buy NBC out of his own money. It's a lot of money. He was gonna buy, before all this jumped off, before all this happened, he was gonna buy NBC out of his own money. And of course, they didn't want that. They didn't want that at all. You know, especially him. I came across a documentary that Bill Cosby made about black actors in Hollywood and how they, just to show the transition, but it shows the demonization of Hollywood. I mean, the wickedness in Hollywood. And I didn't know he had made this documentary, you know. I didn't know. You know what? I'm gonna download it and re-upload it for y'all to watch, But beloved, I'm not on just some, I'm only speaking for the wrongful of blacks and things. Because beloved, even growing up, living in different homes and foster care, things of that nature, which I just had families take me under their wing. I didn't have to go into actually a foster home. And the most of the homes where I receive a lot of the love, you know, to this day, I got white women I call mom, you know. So who are my heart, you know, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them and the love that they gave me. There are so many just poor whites, poor blacks, poor Hispanics, who are all in the same boat, going through the same thing. All the children are getting medicated, getting hit with these different medications, and then just thrown back out in the public society like, okay, now go be normal. They've sat docile and medicated up, and then they're tossed back out in society, oh, go be normal. And we wonder why they have sexual habits that are off the chain, drug habits, drinking habits, violent natures that are just off the chain. But Bill Cosby was speaking on this, so it doesn't surprise me why they had to demonize and break down not just him as a man, but his legacy, his name. I mean, his TV show, what he stood for, the things that he was trying to promote. It was all a reason. But beloved, like I said, Kanye West, what happened with him, the demonization of Tupac, Bill Cosby, you say, I saw them as examples of what Paul Washer said is going to happen to Christians. Now, Paul Washer, like I said, he said it's going to, and I'm going to play this. This is low budget editing. Real quick. You know, it'll take time for me to put it on my machine and edit it in all cool and nice. I don't have that type of time, really, you know. So I'm just going to pull it up and I'm going to play it. I hope y'all can hear it. I'm gonna put it up to you.
We laugh now, but they will come after us. They will come after our children. They will close the net around us while we are playing soccer mom and soccer dad, while we are arguing over so many little things and mesmerized by so many trinkets. The net even now is closing around you and your children and your grandchildren, and it does not cause you to fear. You will be isolated from society, as has already happened. Anyone who tries to run for office who actually believes the Bible will be considered a lunatic until finally we are silenced. We will be called things that we're not and persecuted not for being followers of Christ, but for being radical fundamentalists who do not know the true way of Christ, which of course is love and tolerance. You'll go down as the greatest bigots and haters of mankind in history. They've already come after your children, and for most of you, they got them. They got them through the public schools and indoctrination, and the university and indoctrination, and then you wonder why your children come out not serving the Lord. It's because you fed them right into the devil's mouth. So little by little, the net is closing around, and then it's not little by little. Look how fast things are going downhill just in a matter of weeks. Matter of weeks. But at the same time, know this. Persecution is always meant for evil, but God always means it for good. And is it not better to suffer in this life, to have an extra weight of glory in heaven. You must settle this in your mind. This is the one thing I want to say over and over. Do not believe. Down through history, you have a wrong idea of martyrdom and persecution. You think that these men were persecuted and martyred for their sincere faith in Jesus Christ. That was the real reason, but no one heard that publicly. They were martyred, and they were persecuted as enemies of the state, as child molesters, as bigots, as narrow-minded, stupid people who had fallen for a ruse and can contribute nothing to society. Your suffering will not be noble. So your mind must be filled with the Word of God when all people persecute you and turn on you. And the Spirit of God in common grace pulls back, and you see even your children and your grandchildren tossing in the lot that you should die. This is no game. You want revival and awakening, but know this. For the most part, great awakenings have come only preceding great national catastrophes or the persecution of the church. I believe God is bringing a great awakening, but I believe that He is raising up young men who are strong in trust in the providence of God to be able to wade through the hell that's going to break loose on us. And it will be on us before we even recognize it. Unless in God's providence, He is not done. He is not done. And note, this is not silly talk. Apart from a great awakening, these things are going to come upon you. Be ready to lose your homes, your cars, and everything.
Beloved, you know, that is why when I make these videos, he's right. You know, the persecution is going to be over lies. They're going to demonize us. They're going to say all manner, like Christ said in Matthew 5, when He says, rejoice when they shall persecute you and say all manner of evil against you for my name's sake. So what I'm trying to do, beloved, for those who may not understand this, to teach the youth, or to at least stress to the youth about thinking for themselves. Just because they say this person is this person, go do your homework for yourself. Study about it. Go read the facts. Go look it up. And you're going to be surprised how many at the end time, when they see the just being persecuted, are going to say, hold on, let me go do my homework. You know,
Hey, you did a shower.
why Josh said this and why Josh did this. Let me go do my homework and see what's really going on. Let me go see what's really going on. You know, we got to teach them how to think for themselves, to be their own people, to stop eating everything that Fox News and CNN throws at them and just feeds them with, to start really, truly doing their homework, thinking for themselves. This is where it's key. And many of us need to get it settled in our hearts. The city I live in, I was demonized. Yes, Joshua was demonized. I didn't realize it. A partner of my brother, you know, even while a lot of it was going on by some elders and a whole group of people, I never thought, I'm like, wow, all this happening in little old me. My brother Andre Evans, that's my true brother, I love him. He said, he came to me one day, he said, Jay, he said, did you notice how when you started teaching the sanctuary, how all this stuff happened, rumors, the lies, all this stuff started happening to you back? And I said, wow, you know, I didn't really think about it. But the devil is not playing, y'all. And it's nothing lightly. If you could think, well, okay, I can go through it. All right. Can you deal with it? You have to get settled in your heart and your spirit and in your mind and in your soul. Can you deal with them saying you're a pedophile? Or can you deal with them saying that you're a prostitute? Or you're a drug addict? Or this and that? And that you did this and that and you did, and this is why you deserve to be locked away. Can you deal with that? You have to get it settled, because many who aren't expecting it won't be able to deal with it, beloved. And I fear that they will cave in. I fear that they will cave in, beloved. So this is why I've taken these three situations. Kanye West, who they physically took him away and nobody said nothing. Tupac, who they killed him, had him assassinated, and now to keep the youth, from people from even studying upon him. They want you to always think that he was just a certain way, just gangster and just an evil guy, you know, just bad. But they don't want you to know that he was one of the only rappers left that was still talked about Jesus and God and heaven in his music. And I can still see something now. Yeah, but you can't straddle the fence. That's right, you can't. That's right, you can't. But beloved, given the cause he was doing, what he did, I'm not judging him. I'm not here to say he's going to heaven or hell. I'm not here to say everything he did was right or everything that he did was wrong. I'm just saying he's a sinner saved by grace, just like I'm a sinner saved only by grace. You know, him and his walk with the Lord, that's what he has to, you know, that's what he had to deal with and things of that nature. All I know is that he's not evil, all the way evil like everybody said he was. You know, like when not like the media wants to paint the picture to be. You know, they don't want you to see the Tupac, like I said, that talked about God. When he knew that they had 4 hits on his life, they don't want you to see when he's talking about heaven or hell and who like when he made the song, who do you believe in? You know, and he says, I keep my faith in God, or when he's singing the song, you know, on our block we still pray. You don't hear songs like that no more because there's an agenda to demonize all music and things of that nature, okay? But does those couple songs overlook the fact that he made some bad music? No, it doesn't, and it doesn't excuse it, beloved. But there's a reason why he's demonized. There's a reason why they don't want the youth to think for themselves. And with Bill Cosby, it was so easy for them to demonize him and have a public outcry like, yeah, kill him, he's guilty. In so many people's eyes, he's guilty. And like I said, when you do your homework, in fact, it blew me away how easily I could just sit and Google, you know, you could, because cases are open, and you could see how 30 of the 50 accusers wasn't even about rape. I thought all 50 accused him of rape. No, 30 was about, he brushed me and I felt him grab my butt. How long ago was that? That was 30 years ago. You know, really? And then 20 of the rape, all of them had relationships with him. Okay, so you saying he raped you, but he saw you almost every night. Yeah, he saw me every night, and I took private trips with him, and I flew here and I flew there, and I'm like, wow, really? But he raped you though? But you taking trips, and he paying for your little room here and all this stuff? Beloved, but he was so easily demonized, and the public said he was guilty. They're gonna do it to us. And I use them 3 as a perfect example for us to, when Christ says, be sober and be vigilant. For our adversary the devil walketh about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Beloved, so we have to be ready for every angle, because it is gonna happen. It is gonna happen, and they are gonna demonize you. They're gonna demonize you the same way because they that's how they got practice. You know, they got practice because they perfect their trade. You know, I actually had a dream. I wasn't gonna say this, but I said I had a dream before I filmed the video about Tupac, where God told me in a dream that some will think that because I'm speaking on what I'm speaking on, I'm unworthy of the gospel, and they will feel a certain way about me. Yes. I had a dream about it that night before. So, and God knows me, because I get a little sensitive sometimes, so he knew to go ahead and prep me and prepare me for it. But I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I grew up with no family. I was that little devil, that little demon kid running the streets. I was bad, angry, mad at the world. But I'm glad God saw more than what everybody else saw, you know. And I still got stuff I wrestle with. I'm not perfect by far. Trust me, by far. You know, I used to have people paying me to come in my house like a club. You know, I had my whole basement rigged out like a club, made hundreds of dollars on a nightly basis. You know, we had a bar set up, sold all that. So I was gone. I was out there. There are things that are still in my character that I have to lay at the foot of Christ every day. You know, I have to kill that old man inside me every day. But beloved, the same way God saw hope in me is the same way I see hope in all my youth who are out there right where I was, who going through the same evils and dealing with the same things just like I did. I see the same way he saw truth in me. What's good with you, B? Same way he saw hope and love in me, it's the same way I see it in them. I heard Ava Meyer say one time, he said, there's people in your life that only you can reach. And I believe that to be so true. And there's people in the slums and in the ghetto who I know that only Josh can reach. You know, before you criticize me on how I'm reaching mine, are you reaching yours? Are you using the means and the things, the assets that you have available to you to reach folk? Or are we you're good at criticizing but not actually getting out and trying to reach souls yourself? Beloved, this war is real, and I had to use the example of these three men as examples that if we're not paying attention, if you're not paying attention, that was the difference in the parable of the 10 virgins. Think about it. The 5 wise, they woke up at the midnight hour. Right before the midnight hour, they woke up. If you're not paying attention to what's going on, if you honestly pay attention, it'll cause you to wake up. Beloved, wake up. Wake up. Our enemy is not playing. Y'all have a happy and blessed Sabbath, and I'll talk to you later.